At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Ross for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and our community. It's certainly an honor to recognize. I know we recognize a lot of students, especially what they do outside of the classroom, on the fields, and in various clubs and organizations. To recognize what students are doing for their academic work is just truly amazing, and I want to thank you all for taking this time to give them that recognition. Thank Ms. Taylor and her team for that, to coordinate this moment for 65 of our students to come forward with us with those top honors. And so very, very proud. I want to start off by just continuing to showcase the innovation and the great work within our school district. To Dr. Harris and the Student Services and Planning Department came up with an idea called the March Attendance Madness to address chronic absenteeism, a very innovative technique that's got everybody excited in the month of March. I want to share all Lexington Richland School District 5 schools decreased their chronic absenteeism rate for the final week of March Madness. And so to keep everybody in the game, this was an amazing opportunity to really focus on the impacts of having students at school and also to drive down those chronic absenteeism rates that we see so prevalent in the state of South Carolina. To our Division 1, we had two divisions, Division 1 and Division 2. To our runners-up in Division 2 was Irmo Middle School. And our Division 1 runner-up was River Springs Elementary School. And in our actual winners in Division 2 was Chapin Middle and Division 1 Lake Murray Elementary. And I think they're a repeat. So with a chronic absentee rate below 3%, so it is very exciting to recognize the work that our families and our schools are doing to make sure that we're in school each and every day. And that's so that we can drive our mission of these three critical questions: why we do this work, how we accomplish our why, and then what are our outcomes. Our vision is that we love and grow our students. Our mission is that we're focused on academic, social, emotional growth and development. And our outcomes are our strategic plans, which we will have before us tonight. 24 strategies, over 165 action steps that all move towards two objectives: making sure every student feels loved in our schools and every student has demonstrated academic growth in our schools. We do this as we measure our state assessment outcomes as feedback, moving towards the goal where by 2030, 75% of our students will be at or above grade level in English and language arts and math, to ensure that every child is college, career, and military ready. As we work on our march to on our journey towards these spring assessments that are coming up after spring break, we're looking at fall, winter, and we'll have in May the spring projections. This is important as we look for ways to ensure that those students who are off grade level, that our teachers and our staff have the tools to inform parents to ensure that they are on grade level, removing those barriers. We are also looking at one of the highest measures of success of a high school, which is grad rate. In our district, we look at not only the grad rate, but we index it with the college and career readiness rate. And so we don't want to just graduate students, we want to graduate them prepared. And so we appreciate our upward trend towards our goal of 9 out of 10 students graduating within 4 years. As we do this, we're looking at how do we provide for this operation in terms of our general fund. We look at three main areas: our revenue, our expenses, and our reserve. And all of those things that go into the operating budget. These areas, as we increase or look to decrease, we put them in these categories. And we have been asking our community and our stakeholders, or our stakeholder groups, what have been their priorities. And we've seen over and over as we put together our proposal for first reading that the priority number one is teacher pay raise. We looked at some of our neighbors and who's leading in the state of South Carolina. Right now, Charleston County is leading, and we kind of alluded to this in the workshop. They're even increasing from this, moving to about 64,000 for their first year or their zero teacher. But they'll have that on a band from 0 to 5 years. Again, they're in a different financial tax base than we are. But you can see where we are in terms of local. So having feedback from today's workshop really helps us as we plan our budget. Some of the constraints that we have to contend with is that we receive from state income a projection of additional $4 million. Of that, you can see how much has to be spent on state workers. We're still estimating the impact of insurance, sled checks, bringing forth the minimum pay scale with $1,500 being added to the state minimum, what that will cost us. So you can see we're already in a deficit, but I want the board to understand that we do not know and will not know the impact of Senate Bill 78, as well as some other legislation of items that we're tracking that may have some fiscal impact on us. But for those who are not aware, it will affect more than the career technical education teachers. This is allowing where we budget for a teacher to roll up to the next year, and that's how we budget. We just roll up to our next year. But with this, a teacher can roll up 5 years within a year or 3 years within a year. And so all of this will be based on what they submit to the State Department, but they will get 1 year of education service for every 2 years of outside professional experience. And then as the state gets rid of the Bachelor's Plus 18 lane that we refer to, we want to hold those teachers harmless. So as we look at those impacts, we can see those other considerations. Looking at the reduction of class sizes would bring on about 16 extra teachers to the district. And so based on where we put the pay, that will adjust for the class size reduction. And it's our hope for those who are supporting the teachers in their work to see an increase that would mirror what the state workers receive. I think one of the clarifications, Ms. Tucker, if you can explain, I think a question was asked, do all classified staff receive a raise? And if you just want to share how that works so that we're very clear on that end.
Thank you, Dr. Ross. I know the question came during the budget workshop about if we didn't do the 2% increase, would all classified workers still receive a raise? And I said yes, and I forgot that our classified pay, our steps in our classified pay only go up, in the past only went up to year 18. And I think a few years ago it was identified that we had classified workers that were working longer than that. And I think we've been adding 1 year on, if I'm correct, we're up to year 22. So if you have a support staff who's been here 30 years, they wouldn't receive anything. So we've been adding on a year for the past few years, but anybody over kind of towards the further end of the scale wouldn't receive anything without a percent increase. It was only those in that first and the 22 steps. So I misspoke earlier and I wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
No apologies necessary. It's a lot to keep track of, but we wanted to make sure that we had that on the record. The reason for our budget is we're looking back to what our parents talked to us about. They want an education for their child. This is changing in terms of our delivery method. Traditional school settings are usually mass education systems delivering standardized education, but we're moving towards individualized learning. To that end, we're going to be looking at ways that we can support the classrooms. Teacher supports are one of the biggest priorities. Our teachers are asking for help. We see that the best, when we look at the highest performing school districts within the state. And even this is national data that shows that professional learning communities, the schools that can answer these 4 questions about their child, each child, is the one that has the highest academic growth. They know what students, what they want the students to know and be able to do. They know when the students learn it. They know how to respond when students don't learn it, and they know how to extend the learning for the already proficient students. You can see that we serve the entire range, from students who get perfect scores on multiple sections to students who are 2 and 3 grade levels behind in reading, to students who do not read. That we just serve life skills. We serve that entire range, and making sure that we give an academic excellence to each one of those students is our goal. But it's, in my opinion, it's not just saying we need more teachers. It's more about providing those teachers what they ask for and supporting those teachers. And they ask that, do we know their actual experiences and the contributions? Are we giving them the supports that are necessary for teaching and learning? And are we giving them that time to reflect on that practice? One of the things that we felt like we could do to meet all 3 of these teacher supports that were identified from the teacher advisory was to look at generative AI within the classroom. I want to show you the vision that we had, that the faculty needs a faculty. What's required of a teacher today is much different from what was required even 5 years ago, especially 20 years ago, as we move to this individualized learning. And so all of the planning tools that Magic School's AI can provide a teacher, I wish I had this when I was in the classroom. I just want to share why you would need something like this. We want to help our children meet their expectations. What you see here is a standard. This is a standard. Use a combination of drawings, dictating, and writing to compose informative, explanatory pieces about a topic with supporting details. What grade level do you think this standard is? It's actually kindergarten. This is a kindergarten standard for communication. It's a standard 2.1. And the reality is you can use a device like this or a tool like this to put that standard in that tool and give me feedback on how to teach it. And this is just a representation of what comes back from that. It can give you teaching methods, assessment ideas. It can actually help you with lesson planning, with different activities. But for any teacher, whether you're in your first year of teaching or you're in your 30th year of teaching, think about this. This is a kindergarten standard. And then I can take this and say, well, how do I do it for students who are not ready for kindergarten, or for students who are on 2nd grade level? It gives our teachers a lot of options. Our district teacher of the year, Alyssa Power, says, I do the thinking, Magic School does the work. And this is a tool that I believe can help with those teacher priorities of giving them not only the space and place to work, but recognize what they're going through and what they're up against, and also provide them a tool that will assist them in their work, as well as provide them a time to reflect on their practice. So things that we're going to consider, some takeaways, is bringing back a position statement, guidelines for teachers and students, and then how differentiation professional development looks. But again, this does not take away from the teacher. It's a tool. I asked Ms. Garris, Jenny Garris, to come forward. I know there were some questions about this device or this platform and what's called a DPA, or Data Privacy Agreement. And if Ms. Garris, if you can explain what, for any parent or a member of the community that's worried about AI or their children's data or information being a part of this system, if you can share what safeguards the district has in place when it comes to the Data Privacy Agreement.
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. They have, we have a DPA, data privacy agreement with Magic School AI, and so I've got a few things. Several board meetings ago, I kind of highlighted them when we first started talking about it, so I'll hit a few of those highlights again. They do not collect personally identifiable information. One of the things they have in place is some safeguards where they actually will monitor that as well, which is pretty unusual for some companies because you can't always control what somebody inputs. And so if a teacher or a staff member would put something about a student, like let's say they upload an IEP so that they can work on accommodations or goals, when Magic School provides that feedback that they're asking for, they actually strip the name out, which is pretty unusual for a tool like this, but because it's designed for K-12, that's one of the pieces they have in place. So names, addresses, student IDs, things like that. If they were to, and they have some flags on the back end, if they get flagged that something was input, they will actually proactively go and delete it. We could request anything to be deleted, but they actually will do that as well. So we can, I think there's a double safety net there, so to speak. I think part of that, Dr. Ross talked about guidelines for teachers and students, and I think that's part of that. Just like with any AI tool, we have to teach our kids, teach our staff how to use those tools responsibly. What you input, what happens to that data that you input. So Magic School provides a safe ground to do that. And we know that our teachers and students are using other AI tools. I mean, realistically, we have to know that. So having the guidelines and the teaching and the professional development around a tool with these safeguards in place is a really good way for us to structure that learning. They also have a lot of data security measures. Part of the vetting that we did last spring when we got requests from teachers to vet this program to just use the free version, part of that we look at what's their security breach protocols, where does the data, is it stored, how's it transferred, all of those things checked all of our boxes, all the data stays in the United States. Their data protocols for transfer are very good with the security levels. They have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Security recognition for things like they have SOC 2 is something, it's a very high level, like that can be governmental level of security. So that you have to jump a lot of hoops, companies do, to get those certifications. Their compliance with federal law, they're FERPA compliant, COPPA compliant. COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and so they're compliant with all that, which there's no advertising, a lot of the pieces that go along with COPPA. For right now, COPPA is children under the age of 13. There is things in the works that it will actually increase the age, which I think is a good thing, frankly. So I think with those things in mind, from a security standpoint and a data privacy agreement, it's one of the best addendums that I've seen for data privacy in a lot of these tools, and we look at quite a few.
Thank you, Ms. Jenny. Ms. Garris, I certainly appreciate you doing that, and there may be some more questions as we go through this work, but I really appreciate your vetting of this program. But as we say, it's a tool for taking things off the plate of the teacher. Right now, that's the main user and driver of this, but does not replace the teacher in any way. This is a tool that we believe will meet those aims of helping our teachers meet our objectives. And so the last thing we'd like to present as part of the superintendent's report is we had our first referendum bond sale, which included our spring capital as well in that bond, that sale. So I have our CFO, Ms. Heather Tucker, come forth with a report on the referendum and spring bond sales.
Thank you, Dr. Ross. Good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the board. Our spring bond sale, as well as our GO bonds, went out for public bid last week. They sold on April 1st via competitive bond sale. In the past, we have always gone through SCAGO with our spring and fall issuance, and so this was a little bit different for us. We actually got to see the live bond sale. It was kind of interesting, and we had a lot of response, which means we had a really competitive bond bid, and we took the lowest true interest cost for the bonds, and so we sold our $60 million first issuance of our referendum bond. We had 13 bids on that with the lowest true interest cost of 3.87, and then we received 5 bids for our 2025B, which is our spring bond issuance, and we got the lowest true interest cost of that for 2.9. So overall, a really competitive bond market, and we will close on April 15th and receive our funds for our first referendum funds. So I'll stand for any questions.
Ms. Huddle?
I noticed I'm not looking at the number right here, but I think the 60 million was sold for 63 million, is that right? So why the extra 3 million?
It's the way, so if you look at the attachments that were in your board packet, there were 13 bids on that one, and so how they structured their coupons and their discount rates, each one of them had a slightly different, I guess, proposal for us. And so that one was the one with the lowest true interest cost, and it just, the way they had structured their coupons essentially gives us an additional $3 million.
So follow-up question, the bond referendum authorized, was it 240?
240.
So does that 3 million count toward the 240 or not?
That's a good question.
And we can have
Maybe
our
next
bond
time.
I was gonna say, we
attorney-
can have Ms. Hauser answer that, because we will receive interest on those, but we also have to be cognizant of arbitrage. So making sure, and we have a spending plan, which is why we didn't take out the full 80 to start with. So any proceeds over that, I'll have to consult with her on that. That's a good question.
And if you could speak to the premium market, would that 3 million be within that? Is that what you mean by coupons?
That would, part of coupons and the discounts, correct?
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Tucker.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that concludes the superintendent's report, and I stand for any questions.
Do we have any questions for Dr. Ross? All right, thank you.